महादेव की जय। बिंद्रावन बिहारी लाल की जय। सबको जय सीताराम. Let me extend a very warm, very cordial welcome to each and every one of you this morning. Those of you who have joined us in person here at the Mandir at 40 Todd Street, San Fernando, and for those many devotees who are viewing online, either in Trinidad and Tobago or regionally, or indeed the many devotees who are joining us this morning globally, we extend you a very warm, very cordial welcome. It's a very beautiful Sunday morning here, and we're about to commence our satsang puja, having just been concluded at the Bedi. And this morning we are belatedly joining with the global community in recognition of World Down Syndrome Day, which took place on Friday. I know many of us would have rocked our socks on Friday, myself included, and this morning, in an effort to join with that movement and to create the further awareness and sensitivity, we've invited devotees to do likewise this morning. And I see so many ones, Auntie Shanti and others, with their colorful socks this morning, mismatched socks as well, as we recognize this most important occasion of World Down Syndrome Day. Let us all now join together. Our footsteps having led us to the Mandir this morning, let us stand and gaze at the murtis before us as we commence with the invocation mantra. Whatever form of Bhagwan that we find most endearing or most appealing, I invite us to gaze at that form. Immerse ourselves in the presence of Bhagwan and indeed quieten our minds and our thoughts. Be aware of our breathing as we focus ourselves totally in that divine, most compassionate, most peaceful, and most serene. Hari Om Shri Ganeshaya Namah. Om Shri Saraswate Namah. Om Shri Guru Chadana Kamalebhyo Namah. Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakareshu Sarvara Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadrakali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shiva Dhatri Swaha Sudha Namostute Vasudeva Sudam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Bande Jagadguru Nagindraharaya Trilochanaya Bhasmangaragaya Maheshwaraya Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambharagaya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandramabhirase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaye Pataye Namaha. Om Manojavam Marutatulibhigyam Jetindriyam Buddhimatam Varishtam Vatatmajam Vanaryutamukam Shri Ramadutam Shirishi Namami. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Bediye, let us resume our seats. As we join together with members of the Kirtan group now, as we glorify Ganesh Bhagwan, let us all join together. Let us sing, let us clap, and let us glorify the Lord.
Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Mata Janki Parvati Pita Mahadeva. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh, जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा,
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
एक दंत दयावंत चार भुजाधारी,
एक दंत दयावंत चार भुजाधारी।
माथे सिंदूर सोहे मूस की सवारी,
माथे सिंदूर सोहे मूस की सवारी।
अंधन को आँख देख कोढ़िन को काया,
अंधन को आँख देख कोढ़िन को काया।
बाजन को पुत्र देत निर्धन को माया,
बाजन को पुत्र देत निर्धन को माया।
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा,
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा।
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा,
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
पान चढ़ी फूल चढ़ी और चढ़ी मेवा,
पान चढ़े फूल चढ़े और चढ़े मेवा।
लदवन को भोग लगे संत करे सेवा,
लडवन को भोग लगे संत करे सेवा।
रिद्धि सिद्धि सात सोहि कार्तिकेय भ्राता,
रिद्धि सिद्धि सात सोहि कार्तिकेय भ्राता।
दीन जानी शरण राखी सुफल कीजे सेवा,
दीन जानी शरण राखी सुफल कीजे सेवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा। जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा।
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा,
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा,
माता जानकी पार्वती पिता महादेवा।
प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय. As we approach the what is considered to be the end of our calendar year according to our patra, and we will commence the new year on the 29th, and that marks also the commencement of the period of Navaratri during this particular time. We will now join together as we render verses of Durga Chalisa. As you are aware, once we start during this period of Navaratri, we will have evening satsang and puja, and this will commence from this Saturday from 6 p.m. So you're all invited, and in preparation and in anticipation of that celebration, we join together now in rendering these verses in praise of the Divine Mother. Let us all join together.
जय श्री दुर्गा अंबिका जगत पालिनी मात, तुमरो चालीसा रचू की जय मोहि सनात। नमो नमो दुर्गे सुख करनी, नमो नमो अम्बे दुख हरनी। निरंकार है ज्योति तुम्हारी, दीनहु लोक फैली उजियारी। चंद्र ललाट मुख महाविशाला, नेत्र लाल भृकुति विकराला। रूप मात्र को अधिक सुहावे, दर्श करत जन अति सुख पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे। तुम संसार शक्ति लय कीन्हा, पालन हेतु अनधन दीना। अन्नपूर्णा हुई जगपाला, तुम हो आदि सुंदरी बाला। प्रलय काल सब नाशन हारी, तुम गौरी शिव शंकर प्यारी। शिव योगी तुम्हारी गुण गावे, ब्रह्मा विष्णु तुम्हें नित ध्यावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे, जय अम्बे रक्षा कर प्रहलाद बचायो,
हिरण्याकश को स्वर्ग पठायो,
लक्ष्मी रूप धारो जग माही,
श्री नारायण अंग समाही। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
क्षीर सिंधु में करत विलासा,
दया सिंधु दीजे मन आसा,
हिंगलाज में तुम ही भवानी,
महिमा अमित न जात बखानी।
मातंगी धूमावती माता,
भुवनेश्वरी बगला सुखदाता,
श्री भैरव तारा जगतारण,
छिन्न भाल भव दुख निवारणी। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
हे हरि वाहन सोई भवानी,
लांगुर वीर चलत अगवानी,
घर में खबर खरग विराजे,
जाको देख काल घर बाजे।
सोहे और आस त्रिशूला,
जाते उदत शत्रु यशूला,
नवर कोटि में तुम ही विराजत,
तीनहु लोक में डंका बाजत। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
शुंभ निशुंभ दानव तुम मारे,
रक्त बीज संघन संहारी,
महिषासुर नृप अति अभिमानी,
जिहि अघवार मही अकुलानी।
रूप करा काली को धारा,
सैन्य सहित तुम तेहि संहारा,
परिकर संतन पर जब जब,
भय सहाय मातु तुम तब तब। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
अमरपुरी और वासव लोका,
तब महिमा सब कहे अशोका।
ज्वाला में है ज्योति तुम्हारी,
तुम ही सदा पूजत नर नारी।
प्रेम भक्ति से जो जस गावे,
दुख दारिद्र निकट नहीं आवे।
ध्यावे तुम जो नर मन लाई,
जन्म मरण ते सोचुत जाई। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
योगी सुर मुनि कहत पुकारी,
योग न होई दिन शक्ति तुम्हारी।
शंकर आचार्य तप कीनो,
काम क्रोध जीते सब लीनो।
निश दिन ध्यान धरत शंकर को,
काहु काल नहीं सुमिरो तुमको।
शक्ति रूप को मर मन पायो,
शक्ति गए तब मन पछतायो। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
शरणागत हुई कीर्ति भवानी,
जय 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 जगदम्ब भवानी।
भई प्रसन्न नारी जगदम्बा,
दई शक्ति नहीं कीन विलम्बा।
मोको माथ कश अति घेरो,
तुम बिन कौन हरे दुख मेरो।
आशा तृष्णा निपत सतावे,
रिपु मूरख मोहि अति डर पावे। जय अम्बे जगदम्बे ओ मैया, जय अम्बे जगदम्बे।
शत्रुनाश की जय महारानी,
सुमिरो एक चित तुम्हें भवानी।
करो कृपा हे मातु दयाला,
वेदी से विदे करहु निहाला।
जब लग जियो दया फल पाओ,
तुम
दुर्गा चालीसा जो गावे
सब सुख भोग परम पर पावे
देवी दास शरणानिज जानी
करहु कृपा जगदम्ब भवानी
जय अम्बे
जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे जय अम्बे जगदम्बे मैया जय अम्बे जगदम्बे
प्रेम से बोले आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय. As we are in this period that is known loosely as Karwas, we join together now in a few moments of meditation. And I invite us all to gaze at the Murti of Vishnu Bhagwan, if we are able to have sight of that Murti, or very closely associated, the Murti of Krishna Bhagwan. Meditation is used, amongst other things, to quieten our mind, to become aware of our true selves, to assist us in coping with the turbulence and agitation that sometimes confronts us, and indeed for us to recognize our true selves from that divinity within. This morning, as we engage in these few moments, as we conduct Manas Puja, let us sit upright, let us keep our spine erect. We will commence by deep breathing, where we will breathe in, and as we exhale, we will recite that sacred syllable, Om, 3 times. And then we will go into a few moments of Manas Puja before we engage in some quiet meditation. As we sit upright, becoming aware of our breathing, we inhale very deeply, and as we exhale, we recite that sacred syllable. Again. One final time. With that vibration permeating through every pore of our body, we visualize ourselves in the presence of Vishnu Bhagwan. Very compassionate, very peaceful, very majestic he is. In his hand he holds the Shankh. In his hand he holds the Chakra. In his hand he holds the Gada. Very compassionate he is, very majestic. And we visualize ourselves before that most wonderful form. In complete and utter humility we are, lying prostrate with our head touching his feet. O Lord, we come to you as a child in complete surrender. We come to you offering our entire selves and our entire being. Lovingly, we wash the feet of Bhagwan, caressing his feet. That divine nectar, that dust of that lotus-like feet, again and again, we pray to him. Offering chandan now to adorn the forehead. O Prabhu, this mark of respect, of hospitality, of adoration we adorn you with. Offer to that divine Lord the most beautiful flower that you can envisage, a flower that is most colorful, a flower that is most fragrant, that is perfect in every way. O Lord, we offer this to you as a symbol of our love. Visualize now that you have a thali in hand, which is beautifully decorated, with a deer burning resplendently, and we offer arati to the Lord, waving that thali again and again, praying in a special way that as this light would remove all darkness physically, may your light of compassion, of divinity, of spirituality, remove from my mind all thoughts that are negative. Allow me to perform all actions that are positive and that are uplifting, allowing me to shine like a beacon wherever I may go and in whatever situation I may be in. Then finally now, you pray to the Divine Lord. Whatever be troubling, whatever may be creating anxiety, whatever stresses we may have, whatever sorrow we may be confronted with, whatever sankat or problem that we may be facing, let us offer that to Bhagwan. With that prayer, with that shraddha, with that belief, that indeed through His mercy, all will be removed. O Prabhu, you are omniscient, you are omnipresent, you are all merciful, you are all compassionate. We shower our love upon you. We ask for your divine grace. We ask for your divine presence. We ask for the removal of all things untoward. We ask for all things that should be auspicious to be before us. And now, with love in our hearts, we glorify through the medium of prayer that supreme divine Lord. Shantakaram Bhujagashayanam Padmanavam Suresham Vishwadharam Gaganasadrisham Meghabharanam Shubhagam Lakshmikantam Kamalanayanam Yogimirdhyanagammyam Bande Vishnu Bhavabhayaram Sarvaloke Kanatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Shri Vishnave Namaha. Very slowly now we open our eyes, gazing once more at that Murti of the Divine Lord. Rub our palms together. With that divine energy we pass over our face and our entire body, retaining that divine energy. In a similar fashion, brothers and sisters, when we commence the period of Navratri, it is our tradition that we would also commence meditation in this particular mode, using this particular type of Manas Puja as well. And as we do so on those occasions, we invite you at that time to visualize the form of the Divine Mother. But on a daily basis in our puja room, in our homes, whatever may be entreating to us, we invite you to do likewise. A few moments of meditation at a quiet time on a regular basis indeed can form a very important bond between ourselves and the Divine Lord. Indeed can be very transformative in this world in which we are sometimes faced with anxiety and with difficult situations. And it is something that we should all engage in on a daily basis. At this juncture, I will invite the group if they can render one bhajan. And while they do so, I'll ask the teachers of the Balvihar class to take the children downstairs to the Balvihar class. Mitra, if I can see you for one moment. So while Mitra comes and the group enters a bhajan, I'll ask the teachers to take the children. So all of the children of the Balvihar class, please move quietly downstairs. I'll ask the group to render one bhajan, please.
श्रीनाथ जगन्नाथ नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा नारायणा
श्रीनाथ जगन्नाथ नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा नारायणा श्रीनाथ जगन्नाथ नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा नारायणा श्रीनाथ जगन्नाथ नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा नारायणा नारायणा हरि नारायणा नारायणा हरि नारायणा नारायणा हरि नारायणा नारायणा हरि नारायणा नर हरि रूपा नारायणा नर हरि रूपा नारायणा नर हरि रूपा नारायणा नर हरि रूपा नारायणा वैकुंठ राधा नारायणा जय देवी मोहन नारायणा वैकुंठ राधा नारायणा जय देवी मोहन नारायणा श्रीनाथ जगन्नाथ नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा 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 नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा नारायणा श्रीलक्ष्मी रमणा नारायणा
हरि ओम सत्यनारायणं देवं वन्देऽहं कामरं प्रभु लील्यावृतं विश्वं येन तस्मै नमो नमः ओम श्री विष्णवे नमो नमः Jai Sitaram everyone. Again, a very warm and cordial welcome is extended to each and every person this morning. Those of you who are viewing us online on YouTube or on Facebook, Shubh Swagatam, and those many of you who have joined us this morning physically, particularly as well, I want to commend the young people who are all here very early this morning on time. As you know, we are continuing with the Youth Leadership Program, which was launched and commenced last week, Sunday. And while we started that program at just about 9 o'clock last week, it is the plan that it will start from 10 and run until around 11 each and every Sunday. So I was a little fearful with that change being effected, that maybe the youths would say, okay, let me take a little extra half hour and I will come for 10 o'clock in order to start that program. But I'm very heartened that so many of you were here before 8:30, and indeed so many of you are here to participate indeed in the satsang and our Sunday morning service. As per what was advertised last week and during the course of this week about our speaker, we were supposed to have a special guest speaker this morning treating with problems and difficulties associated with sleep and sleeping techniques. And indeed, the topic was on sleep hygiene. As you could tell, I am filling in, and it is my planned intention to make sure that you all are all asleep by the time I'm finished with the pravachan, and that will be testimony to the success of what I'm about to do. But circumstances be as they are, sometimes in life, little curveballs come your way, little challenges, and this morning, unfortunately, due to an unforeseen and unavoidable situation concerning the illness of the daughter of the presenter, she could not be here due to that emergency. And so we understand that, as parents, we understand that there are emergencies that come up. And so you are saddled with my presence this morning in terms of me putting you to sleep. But in all seriousness, this morning it gives us a wonderful opportunity to speak about the tenets of Sanatana Dharma and to relate that to our own circumstance. As I said this morning, during this period of Karwas, we focus, there are some misconceptions about this particular period. And some of the misconceptions is that you can't do anything during this time, and this is very much not correct. It is something, the misnomer and misinformation that comes up, and I think Pandit Devendra alluded to it a little while ago. The period of Adhik Mas, which we will observe next year, I think it's around May or thereabouts next year, is different from the period of Karwas. Adhik Mas occurs every 2.5 years or thereabouts. Karwas is every year, and it really marks that fortnight leading to the end of the calendar year, or the patra as we know, before the commencement of the new year, which would start, as I mentioned before, on Saturday. And the pillars of Sanatana Dharma speak about Satya, Sauch, Daya, and Dhanam. And I want to focus a little bit on Satya. Satya means truth. And truth, when we perform puja to Vishnu Bhagwan, very oftentimes through the form of Satyanarayan Swami, we speak of God in the form of truth. And it is interesting to understand what that truth really is and what it means to us on a daily basis. And in a very literal sense, if I were to ask, what does it mean when we speak about the concept of truth? I'm sure if I was Steve Harvey and this were Family Feud, the number one answer would be not telling a lie. Yes? So when we think about truth, that is what immediately confronts us in terms of being truthful and not telling a lie. And that is indeed very important. It is indeed apt. It is indeed applicable as a meaning of what truth is. But when we speak about Satya from Sanatana Dharma's perspective, we are speaking about a lot more than that. We are talking about, in essence, the universal principles of truth, which are there, which we live our lives by, or ought to, and that transcends gender, age, geography, ethnicity, religion. They are fundamental truths that impact us all. And it is important for us as Sanatanis Hindus to appreciate those truths and what they are, to inculcate them in our lives, and to keep at it because it's not easy to do, and to understand that these truths, as I said, transcends all of the boundaries and all of the barriers that we have spoken about. In this land of Trinidad and Tobago, it's very fortuitous that we are multicultural, multi-ethnic, and indeed enjoy a lifestyle that is one filled with harmony. And sometimes we take this very much for granted because this is where we have been born. This is the reality that we have grown up in. And this is something that we take and appreciate as the norm. And I could tell you unequivocally, without any fear of contradiction, this type of harmony and this type of universality in terms of how we live can rarely be found anywhere else in the world. And I challenge anybody to dispute. Even though some persons may say, for example, that North America and Europe is the place to be, if you and I were to go there and to go to certain quarters, we would be challenged immediately by the level of disharmony, by the level of discrimination, and by the level of non-acceptance. That is the reality there. And there's no doubt about that. You can choose any country in the world, and I will tell you that the level of harmony that we enjoy here, and not tolerance for each other, but appreciation rather for each other, is something that is unsurpassed. That truth of living together in harmony is something that is espoused in Sanatan Dharma. Sanatan Dharma speaks about the universal way of life. It is a way of life. And it is a way of life that allows us to treat each other as a brother or as a sister and to not see any difference in each other. That is what we are taught. So when, for example, as our Dharma teaches us, we greet someone with our hands clasped and we bow our head and we say Namaskar, Namaste, Sitaram, Ram Ram, Radhe Sham, or whichever form of greeting, we are recognizing that in each and every person there is that spark of divinity, there is that form of God. That is our teaching. That is a truth that we all have been inculcated with, and that is something that we are all part and parcel of once you are Sanatanist Hindu. Not so? So why then do we see persons differently? Why do we allow ourselves, therefore, to be cursed and to be cajoled into seeing differences in people when in fact we are all one and the same? Dr. Gyan is here and he's a medical practitioner in the hospitals, as there are many others who are here, Dr. Mitra Maharaj. And if they were to prick the skin of any individual in Trinidad and Tobago, the color of the blood would be the same. There's no difference. There is no difference. And that is something that we must appreciate in terms of how we treat each other. That mutual respect that we must have must not have any barrier or any boundary, because we are all divine beings. Sanatan Dharma teaches us of that truth. In Satyanarayan Swami Katha, which is contained in Skanda Puran, Reva Kand, Narad Muni, that celestial devotee, was wandering this lok, this physical plane that we are all existing in. And his observation at that time, thousands and thousands of years ago, was that mankind was affected and afflicted with sickness, with sorrow, with poverty, with disease, with all sorts of affliction. And it boggled his mind because we are the individuals who are near and dear to God. In some quarters, in our Christian brothers and sisters' teachings, you say the saying that we are all children of God. Same meaning, different language. And so, confronted with this problem that he's experienced, he went to Vishnu Bhagavan and says, how can your devotees who are so near and dear to you be removed from this affliction? And in that katha, Vishnu Bhagavan says to Narad Muni that devotees of mine who wish to be removed of this affliction of whatever kind merely have to sit to perform my puja and to do so with love and devotion, and those afflictions would be removed. And that is a very simplistic statement, because immediately captured in our mind would be the ability to just sit and perform a puja, as my sister Mati did this morning. And once I do that, then presto, everything is gone. We forget the little caveat that he put on that. And the little caveat was with love and with devotion. And those two words, as simple as they are, have a very, very enhanced meaning in terms of how we sit with love and how we sit with devotion and how we perform puja. And puja is much more than sitting in front of a Bedi and performing the rituals. Puja is how we live our lives each and every moment of each and every day. That is puja. When you serve someone, that is puja. When you help someone, that is puja. When you perform your duties as an individual, whether in the home, whether in school, whether in work, whether in society, that is puja. And sometimes we forget that. And we think puja is only when the Baba tells me to fast for 21 days. And we try to negotiate that period and say, oh, Baba, it can be a little less. 21 days is a long time, you know. The revenue stream of KFC will plummet if I don't, if I observe that. So we try to negotiate, not recognizing that it is an indictment that we have to follow. You know, I had an interesting conversation with someone of the Muslim faith. And the kind of choice that we're afforded in Sanatana Dharma, their tradition does not afford them that choice. This is the way, and you follow the way. There's no choice. There's no negotiation. But we allow the negotiation, and it is, some would say, our greatest strength, and some would say it's our greatest weakness, but it is the reality. And so if we recognize in that seminal statement that if you sit and you perform this puja with love and devotion, then all afflictions would be removed. For those of you who want 21st century sayings, particularly the young people, you've ever heard about Warren Buffett? No? Karen has. And if you haven't, read about him. You know, many people look up to him in terms of what he says and what he does and the ability to acquire wealth. And he says the real power that you relinquish is when you allow other persons to control how you react. Think about it. If someone or a situation confronts you and you relinquish that power that you have of choosing how to react, then you've lost all control. But if you retain that power of how you are going to act and react in a situation, then you are still in control. Parents, think about our situation. When you have a child, toddler, and that toddler is crying and crying and crying, sometimes we lose our cool. When they become a little bit older and they are messing up the things, so they go into the cupboard and they find all of the beans and things, and they open it up and they mix everything together, we may lose our cool. They grab something that you find valuable and they pull it down and it is smashed to pieces, we lose our cool. I'm not saying to say how you react, I'm just saying think about experiences like that. For us now on a daily basis, if you're driving along the roadway and somebody give you a bad drive, you lose your cool. And there are many other types of stimuli where we lose our cool, and unfortunately the reaction that is dependent upon that is not anywhere near what Sanatana Dharma teaches us to do. That love and that devotion goes out the window, and another type of reaction comes in front of us. And that is the challenge that we have. So Satya, meaning truth, tells us about the performance of things with love and with devotion, and we expand that to mean not merely the puja, but the every actions that we perform on a daily basis. It teaches us about the sense of appreciation, because again, in Satyanarayan Swami Katha, we are told about the devotees who are prescribed, perform my puja and your difficulties would be removed. And there are examples that are presented. The merchant, for example, who very much wanted a child and was told, okay, perform this puja and it will occur. And in his mind, he didn't yet perform it. He performed that sankalp, or that thought process where, yes, I am going to do this. Yes, I am going to do this. And that is immediately a sankalp, or the commencement of your puja. So from the time in your mind you you think, I want to perform a puja, and you take steps towards that, that is the commencement of your puja. And so the merchant made that sankalp, and Bhagwan was